pilot, he was confident that it was absolutely not a human craft. And it took great courage for Fife Simon to do this. So he moderated this conference. There's Leslie Kean, and James Fox is over here. Now, the final thing, and probably the most profound pressure being brought on the truth embargo, right, is from other nations, without question. The United States was the great superpower. Yes, yes, yes. But over time, its power has diminished, and the world is asserting itself as it should be. And the truth embargo, which was initiated by the United States, other nations went along for various reasons. I don't want to argue with their thinking, but they're breaking ranks with the U.S. In the last 10 years, that has accelerated. And without question, the most notable country in this case is France. In 2000, a group of individuals, all with substantial government connections and former employment in the French military and elsewhere, produced a report. Now, this was non-governmental, but you can be assured that the French government was behind this, right? But they didn't want to do it directly because that would create some diplomatic problems. And so this OVNI et la défense, UFOs and defense, what should we prepare for? Robert Fleischer has been talking about this, and others, of course. It was covered a little bit in the U.S. thanks to Leslie Kean, but not that much by the press. But it got a lot of attention in Europe. And again, the people involved, I mean, this is not some French citizens getting together to express their views about ETs. This is General Denis Letty, right, of the French Air Force. This is Bruno Lemoyne, an Air Force general. This is Marc Merlot, a Navy admiral, a French Navy admiral. Michael Alguin, an attorney. Jean Douglas, an engineer. Biscon, a weapons engineer. And then the chief of the National Police, Dennis Blanchard. Christian Marshall, the chief mining engineer, and so forth. This is non-trivial. And this was a message sent from France to the U.S. through the press. And they couldn't have made it clear because the key summation of this report was this sentence. A single hypothesis sufficiently takes into account the facts and, for the most part, only calls for present-day science. It is the hypothesis of extraterrestrial visitors. These French military academics and security people are saying UFOs are extraterrestrial. Hello? And then they also said this. I don't know how clear the message could be, but in diplomatic language. Thus, it would appear natural that in the mind of the U.S. military leaders, secrecy must be maintained as long as possible. Only increasing pressure from public opinion, possibly supported by the results of independent researchers, by more or less calculated disclosures, or by a sudden rise in UFO manifestations, might perhaps induce U.S. leaders and persons of authority to change their stance. Boy, that says it pretty clearly, doesn't it? Now, I don't know what the ETs are going to do, right? But I know that the public can do a lot. And we're doing everything we can to get the public opinion to exert the pressure that this report suggests and end this truth embargo. And of course, this conference, your presence, and the media's presence from around Europe is testimony, and of course that's exactly what's happening. Now, but other countries have clearly made statements that we're getting on the disclosure train. Very significantly, the United Kingdom starts releasing classified UFO files in 2003 in step fashion. Every few months, another batch, generating another news cycle. Very wise, very smart. That's been going on now for 6 years, thousands and thousands of UFO files. Then Mexico in 2004 released a report and the evidence of a possible sighting, may not have been a UFO, but whatever, in a very formal way at a press conference in Mexico City to Mexican researchers, including Jaime Maussan. The message there was to the U.S. It wasn't about whether that particular sighting was UFO or not UFO. It was, look, there's no way we could do this unless the Minister of Defense of Mexico and the President Vicente Fox had approved it. So, hello? Then Canada, Paul Hellyer in 2005 attends a symposium, and based upon his assessment, he's a very smart man, and the former Deputy Prime Minister of Canada comes forward and says, this is real. This is real as the planes in the sky. And Roswell was real. And I've confirmed it with an American general that I know. That took great courage, and Paul is still pressing the issue. He's a great man. And then Canada, a little more quietly than the United Kingdom, started releasing UFO files in 2006, and thousands of those files have been released. Then Brazil, in 2005, formally begins cooperation with UFO researchers there This was an accomplishment of A.J. Bavard, a very important person in South American research, and continues to do tremendous work, and then started their own document release in 2006, a recent announcement. More documents are about to come out. Again, that can't happen without the formal approval of the Minister of Defense of Brazil and the President of Brazil. Then Denmark releases documents in 2009, earlier this year. Sweden had been releasing documents that became a little better known recently, but they've been doing it for 3 years, thousands of documents. And an article appeared in Russia Today. Zavodnya Pressa reports, as of 2 days ago, that the Russian Navy has just started releasing classified documents regarding UFO sightings, primarily from Navy ships, and primarily involving submerged vehicles. So Russia, it appears, is about to get on the disclosure train. More countries are expected. In all of this time, the United States has done absolutely nothing. Now, in this regard, I want to mention something else that I think is notable, and Paula talked about this. There is a new venture that is starting right now. It's underway right now. And it is Open Minds Productions, which includes a television show and a magazine, both of high quality. A brand new studio has been built, and people are being hired to take this issue out. But what's notable, and why I'm bringing it up in this context, is it is being created by a Phoenix businessman, an entrepreneur, in full partnership with this man, Jaime Maussan. Jaime Maussan is the best-known journalist and researcher in UFO phenomena in the Spanish-speaking world, without question. All right? I do not know the exact status of this issue in Spain in terms of the awareness, interest, and what have you. But in the Spanish-speaking world, the issue in Central America, Mexico, and South America is growing incredibly fast, in much regard to, as a result of Jaime Maussan's work. He has acquired thousands of videos that are being taken all over Central America, and some now in South America. And the interest in the subject there, amongst that, I forget, 800 million people, is growing very rapidly. And Jaime Maussan is a full partner in this. And this activity will be, of course, international, and is going to be clearly presented aggressively to the entire Spanish-speaking world, including Spain. Now, as part of the ramp-up, they have already hired Maurizio Beata of Italy to edit the magazine. He has a reputation of creating extraordinarily fine, high-quality magazines. They have just hired Antonio Huneeus, who was involved in some of the UN work back there, a long-time journalist and researcher. He's back in the game and wants to say hello to everybody. And also, Paula Harris is going to be contributing to this magazine. They are building a multilingual, there's like 6 languages represented there. They're building a multilingual team to create this a show and magazine that will go to the United States and everywhere else, particularly into the Spanish-speaking world. This is, of course, another example of what's going on. Now, let's get to the meat. Let's get to why I believe things are about to happen. A very important event took place in 1993. It has come to be called the Rockefeller Initiative. It was not covered at the time. It was virtually ignored. But it didn't go away thanks to many people, the principals that were there, of course, many of whom are still living, but also this gentleman, an unassuming researcher from Canada named Grant Cameron, and a colleague of mine. He took a hold of the issue of UFOs and U.S. presidents, created a website called presidentialufo.com, and started archiving everything he could about this connection between U.S. presidents and UFOs. And also did something very important. He filed a Freedom of Information Act request of information in the Office of Science and Technology Policy in the Clinton administration. He filed this in 2000, asking for everything regarding UFOs, the Rockefeller Initiative, and so forth, and got lucky. They were asleep at the switch or whatever. He got back 1,000 pages of documents confirming everything. And of course, we have been working with those for some time, and they form the backbone of the confirmation of the Rockefeller Initiative, and the Rockefeller Initiative forms the backbone of the political